Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is On Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on a Monday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. It's here. It is here. It's game week. And we are fired up to be hanging out with you for the next 2 hours. Got Casey Gaines and Jacob Beck back there on the ones and twos. No more having to dig through watch lists. No more having to dig up some list somebody put together of the top 10 defensive backs that we have to complain about. No more scrounging the internet for win totals. It's game week. LSU and Florida State on Sunday. We've got 5 days here on this station to get you ready for it, and we are fired up to be here. It's probably going to be a long week, honestly. These weeks tend to drag a little bit. You're excited. You're fired up. You got out of bed this morning thinking, all right, it's game week. Like, we're here. And then all of a sudden you're going to look up and go, it's Wednesday? Come on. But we'll get through it. We'll make it happen. Just one day at a time. Today, we got a big show. Brian Kelly met with the media in his normal game week Monday press conference. I've got a lot of thoughts on what we heard from Brian Kelly earlier today. Of course, the Saints and Texans played last night in Caesars Superdome. I've got my thoughts on that. Marlon Favorite, Big Fave, who joins me every weekend on the LSU Sports Radio Network pre- and post-game shows, is going to be with us at 2 o'clock. And every single Monday, fired up to bring on Denton Day. Denton Day is a producer for SiriusXM who was just announced is going to host their late night show on Saturday night. So Denton's worked a bunch with Jacob on the national stuff for college football on SiriusXM, and he's going to be with us every single Monday at 2:30. So by 2:30 on a Monday show, I've probably spent an hour on LSU. I've probably spent 15 to 20 minutes on the Saints. We've certainly talked some SEC, and we'll get some SEC thoughts, some LSU thoughts, and certainly some national thoughts on college football every single Monday with Denton Day. So we'll do that to starting today at 2:30. Is I guess things did get underway over the weekend in college football. I'll be very honest and transparent with you on that front. Did not see one snap of college football this weekend. Thought I might watch a little bit of Vanderbilt on Saturday night, but we cooked some steaks in my parents' house. The nieces were there. My kid was there. My buddies were in town. Like, we were just hanging out in the parents' living room. Didn't watch any TV that night, and then I was playing golf during the Notre Dame game. So I'll be locked in on football starting on Thursday night. I won't miss a snap of Florida and Utah. I can promise you that. But I didn't quite get there for Vanderbilt and Hawaii. It just wasn't on the agenda. But we'll get there. We're 4 days away. So fired up to be here on this Monday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Brian Kelly started us off today. Met with the media for about 30 minutes, and I had 8 stars that I drew in my notes, and I'll just kind of run through them chronologically as he said them. Brian Kelly gave what he's going to give every single Monday and Thursday, it appears, and that is an injury report for the game. And he said, we're healthy for the most part. He listed 3 players on the injury report. Armani Goodwin is doubtful. That did not surprise me in the least. The first day of fall camp, we went out there, and Armani Goodwin, they're in helmets and no shoulder pads or football pants. They're in shorts and T-shirts, basically. And he had a bulky brace on that knee and was gimping through every workout. And I looked at that and went, he's just not even close to being ready. Now, the size of that brace has gone down a little bit, but when you look at a running back room that's got 8 guys in it, I just don't consider Armani Goodwin a significant playing time threat for the foreseeable near future. Like, I'm not going to rule him out for week 4, but he's banged up, and we'll see how quickly he can get up to speed. Kima Makaniole, he's a reserve offensive lineman, probably towards the back end of the 2-depth. He is questionable with plantar fasciitis, which is obviously very, very painful, so don't expect to see him this weekend. And Josh Williams, probable for the game. I would imagine you will see Josh Williams. I have said really since the start of camp that I thought Josh Williams would get the first carry of the season. I thought he'd be LSU's starting running back. Just based on his story, what he means to that team. They sent him to SEC Media Days. Just felt like the guy that they would trust to be out there first. I kind of feel like that may be shifting away because of the injury that's lingered here for Josh Williams. So he's probably going to be ready to go on Saturday. How much you see of him, if any, is probably debatable because of the fact that LSU's so deep at the running game, at the running back spot. As far as other noteworthy nuggets that Brian Kelly laid on us earlier today, he announced who would be doing the kick returning and the punt returning. And forgive me, I got a little excited. Got a little excited when I heard it. Aaron Anderson's going to do the punt returning, and we figured that would be the case. Brian Kelly has really lauded his ability to catch punts and how fluid and natural he looks at doing it. When he came out of Carr, you looked at him as one of the most explosive playmakers in the class of 2022. He just was an explosive player, a little bit undersized maybe, but the quickness and the make you miss is all there. And then he goes to Alabama and gets hurt. So you're not going to have him doing much of anything. So he comes to LSU, he's banged up for the spring, can't really do anything. And you wonder, like, is this guy going to be healthy? And I could tell you from contrasting to Armani Goodwin, the first day we were out there at fall camp, I'm looking at Aaron Anderson, I'm going, he is healthy. He had a sleeve on his knee. It's no longer there. He's moving great. He's making cuts. You can see him running bubble screens and slip screens in practice. You can see him when they break off the special teams, catching kicks and catching punts. I am excited about the prospects of Aaron Anderson going back there and being LSU's primary punt returner. I think he brings fear into the other team's special teams. I think he can change the game with a big play. I mean, look back in some of LSU's best seasons. Skylar Green was incredible in 2003 once given the opportunity. They gave him the opportunity against Arizona when it was a blowout. They punted it to him. He ran it back for a touchdown and never gave up the kick return duties the rest of the way. I don't need to tell you about 2011 and what those special teams plays that Tyrann Mathieu made did for that team. You're in a dogfight with Arkansas if he doesn't do that. You are losing to Georgia through 3/4 of that game if he doesn't do that. So while I understand the nature of coaches saying we just need to catch the football, especially going through what LSU did last year, I get it. Like, you can't lose the game on special teams. You can't do what you did against Florida State. You can't do what you did early in the game against Tennessee. But you're allowed to think positively about it, not just protect against the negative. And the positive is there are enough ridiculous athletes on this LSU football team to put somebody back there that scares the punter, that scares the special teams, that makes the punter realize he's got to punt that in the proper place, that may cause him to shank it or create better field position. Or maybe he does execute the punt and your guy still makes a play because he's that good. And when LSU puts a guy back there who's just a statue to stand there and wave his arm and catch it, that stinks. And last year, that's basically what Gregory Clayton was. He returned the punts 11 times and averaged 4 yards a return. LSU only attempted to return 16 punts last year. They fair caught all the rest of them because they were terrified. Aaron Anderson is a stud back there and should be allowed to catch punts and make plays. And that's what I would like to see. And then they went to the kick return, which always makes me nervous because I just am so tired of the 235-pound bulky running back who doesn't run out of sight getting those kick returns. I want Trendon Holiday. I want Trey Palmer. I want Odell Beckham. I want a game changer back there. Not Kenny Hilliard or Nick Brissett, not Noah Cain. Great backs in their own right. They did great things at LSU. But they're not game breakers. And I realize that most kickoffs go out of the back of the end zone. If you look at LSU last year, LSU only returned 16 kickoffs last year. They played 14 games. It's just over 1 a game. But Noah Cain had 7 of them, and Jack Besh had 4, and Jamin Nicholas had 2. 13 of your 16 were guys that I would not consider game breakers. Noah Cain, starting running back at Penn State. Great school in the Big Ten. Jack Besh, really good receiver. Returned a punt for a touchdown at LSU. Not a game breaker. Jamin Nicholas, sorry, not a game breaker. I want Jaylen Brown or Chris Hilton or one of those guys back there. And it turns out I am going to get that because Aaron Anderson is that kind of guy. And he's going to be back there on kickoffs as well. And they'll also put Caleb Jackson. And now, while Caleb Jackson would appear to be in the mold of Brissett, in the mold of Noah Cain, in the mold of Kenny Hilliard and some of the guys that have done this in the past, he's got track speed. So Aaron Anderson's going to be the primary guy. And Jackson's going to be what Brian Kelly said is off the ball. And that makes me a happy guy because those guys can make a play. When you're at LSU and you are consistently pulling in 4- and 5-star talent, you have plenty of guys you can put back on kick and punt return to do something to change a game. I'm thrilled those guys are going to be back there. So Aaron Anderson will be your punt returner. He will also be back on kickoffs alongside Caleb Jackson. Still a lot to get to from Brian Kelly's press conference here today. I want to talk a little bit about the offensive line, Jaden Daniels, and what kind of mental preparation has gone into this year. We'll talk a little bit about Mason Smith and his injury, which we're told is not quite healed. Little defensive line talk with Mason Smith being out. Got some Harold Perkins talk as well. And then about the new rules. So a lot to get to from Brian Kelly. So to stay on time, we'll take a quick timeout. Come back with more from Brian Kelly. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal. Tell you every day what do. They elevate and celebrate Louisiana. Why do they do that? Well, LWCC is a shining light here in Louisiana. They're a Louisiana-based company that helps Louisiana companies. And they're here to elevate the state. They know that people love the state of Louisiana. They love to come down here and eat our food, listen to the music, see the history, enjoy some football. But we should be admired as well because there are a lot of people doing awesome stuff in our great state. If you know someone, some nonprofit, some business that's doing great work in our state, bettering other people's lives, bettering the entirety of the state, whether it's through philanthropy, whatever the case may be, go to lwcc.com/champions and nominate that person, that nonprofit, that company to be a champion of Louisiana so that we can tell their story here on the Hunt Palmer Show. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Going to churn through Brian Kelly's first Monday press conference of the season. LSU and Florida State from Orlando on Sunday night. ABC will have the telecast. It'll be Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit on the call, which should be very, very good. He was asked about the offensive line as we continue to move forward and whether or not that was kind of set. And I thought the quote was pretty much on par with what we all kind of think. And he said, down the road, you could see some movement in the top 6 or 7 because of the freshmen. And then he mentioned by name DJ Chester and, of course, Lance Hurd. Sounds like those two guys have really made a push, and they're already, as you know, 2 weeks ago, they're already looking at Lance Hurd at right tackle and moving Emory Jones to right guard. As I've said a bunch of times, and we'll continue to say this week, like, this is not the week to send Lance Hurd out there at right tackle. You've got one of the best pass rushers in the country on the other team. It's going to be loud. It's a spot where you need some guys who've been out there. So you're going to see the veterans out there in game 1. Now, game 2, when Grambling comes to town, give Lance Hurd 50 snaps if you want. That's not going to happen, but do it. Probably not the time at Mississippi State either. But then you come home and you've got Arkansas and non-conference. So at that point, you can maybe start to ease some people in. So it makes a lot of sense that he would say that, you may see some movement down the road was the word he used in the top 6 or 7. That means we're going to start the vets, and those freshmen mentioned Chester and Lance Hurd are going to come on, and I think that's a very, very good thing. And I'm fascinated to know that DJ Chester's made that big a move because I didn't necessarily consider him as someone who would vie for playing time on this team, and he may not. But inevitably, as we've said, guys go down on the offensive front. It's a tough spot. It's big men. They're having a collision on every play, and as you know, guys get rolled up on and whatnot. So it's good to develop depth there, and it seems like LSU is doing that. Now, all of you want to know, and this will be a huge topic over the next 4 days, Jayden Daniels. And we'll see what adjustments he's made from last year, if any, when he gets out there on Sunday. Until then, it's just conjecture on our part. But I did like the way that Brian Kelly framed the way that Jayden Daniels has treated practice. And the way that he said he's framed it in 7-on-7 is that treat every throw like it's 4th down, not 1st and 10. On 4th down, you have to make the play. There is no check down on 4th down. On 4th down, you have to throw the back shoulder. On 4th down, you have to take the shot. He said, think of your reps in 7-on-7 as if it's 4th down. The ball has to come out. Last year, everything was basically 1st and 10. Let's just pick it. And there are some statistics that back up a lot of the things that LSU did last year. LSU was exceptional last year in terms of not going 3 and out. One of the best in college football at not going 3 and out. And why? Because Jayden Daniels is far more likely to run for 4 yards than he is to put a ball up into one-on-one contested coverage down the field that might hit a big play. And when you get into 2nd and 6 and you run the ball and you get into 2nd and 3 and Jayden Daniels can either hit a check down or run the ball on 3rd and 3, and then you've moved the chains, which is also obviously very good. But as we all know, the ball's got to be pushed down the field a little bit. And as people that were at the scrimmage have spoken about, and fans have gotten some video of the scrimmage we were at 2 weeks ago. Like, yeah, like he did check it down a lot. So that's going to still happen. But hopefully there's some shots baked in there as well. And we won't know until we get out there on Sunday night. Mason Smith came up, and the question that Glenn Gilbo asked of Brian Kelly was, hey, is he even ready to play if he was eligible? And Brian Kelly said, maybe not. That ankle injury that I talked about that we saw a month ago, 3 weeks ago at the Saturday practice that we were at, he went down during this 11-on-11 full contact period, and he was kind of 15 yards behind the team, and all the trainers were looking at him, and he was down for about 5 minutes, and then he popped up and kind of gimped off, and then he walked right over to the media and said, hey, and they said, you good? And one of his teammates, he said, yeah, I'm good. But he hasn't really practiced a lot since then. And Brian Kelly said he hasn't really been practicing, and if he was eligible for this game, which we know that he's not, they said he would be listed at questionable if he was eligible. So that tells me he's pretty banged up. And that tells me he's probably not playing next week either. Right? Why are we sending him out there against Grambling if he's not healthy? And I've had this conversation all the time with former players that I work with, whether it's Hesser or T-Bob, Brandon Taylor, Marlon Favorite, guys that we talk to that played. And you always, as a fan, want to be very protective of your star players and your players as a whole. So, well, he didn't have to play in that game. But the thing is that these college football players get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go run sprints all summer. And they go through grueling fall camp in the miserable heat. And they go through study hall and class and school. And they've got weightlifting and all the things that go into being a football player that takes so much of your time. And this goes on for 12 months out of the year. And then you get to the season, and you got 12 chances to go play. 12 months to do all that stuff, 12 games, 12 Saturdays to play. It's hard to say, oh, are you healthy? Like, you ready to go? Well, sit down. Which they may do with Mason Smith when Grambling comes to town. But, again, there's another side of it that's going, hey, I'm healthy. Like, I want to go play. And I get that. But I still think it's a long shot he plays against Grambling. He's got to get healthy. No question about that. And now that he can't play on Sunday, may have from today basically 3 weeks until you get Mississippi State. Speaking of his replacements, Brian Kelly's asked, okay, what does it kind of look like behind him now that you don't have Mason Smith? And he said, first, we'd love to have Mason Smith play. Like, that's number one. We'd like to have him out there. But the growth and development of the defensive line Brian Kelly raved about today, said that Jordan Jefferson has really been impressive. He played a lot of football at West Virginia and has been very good. He called Jacobian Guillory outstanding, and I use air quotes there. That was directly what Brian Kelly said about him. He mentioned Jalen Lee, the Florida transfer, and said he's been kind of a surprise in camp with what he's been able to give us. So he said that Jalen Lee did not have a great spring, but has done a nice job, and he will add some depth. And this basically goes back to what I said last week when we found out Mason Smith couldn't play. LSU has depth and some good players at defensive tackle. I don't believe Mason Smith being out turns that battle on the interior of Florida State's offensive line and LSU's defensive line. I don't believe it turns that into a Florida State advantage. I think it weakens your advantage there. I still think with Mekhi Wingo and Jacobian Guillory and Jordan Jefferson and Jalen Lee that LSU has a fine defensive tackle rotation with 4 old players. You just don't have the game changer. And Mekhi Wingo's a heck of a player. He's not going to change the game to the extent that Mason Smith could. So I don't believe that you become very weak there. I believe you lose your strength. If that makes sense. That's the way I see it. We'll find out pretty quick coming up here on Sunday. 2 more. One is Harold Perkins. Brian Kelly was asked, okay, well, obviously things are a little bit different now with him. How so? And he said, look, he's going to play all over the place. Last year, he made most of his impact on the perimeter attacking the quarterback. And he made sure to say he's still going to attack the quarterback, but he's also going to attack linebackers and he's going to attack tight ends. And they're going to move him around to be certain that opposing offenses have to get to the line of scrimmage and find him. Kelly brought Jared Verse into the conversation and said, look, they've got the same thing in this game. Like, we're going to have to identify. And Kelly was talking about LSU on offense, and he said, look, if we have to huddle to find out where Jared Verse is, we'll huddle. Like, we're not in a hurry. And we want teams to have to feel the same way about Harold Perkins. So he said he's not a pass rusher. He's a linebacker that will happen to rush the passer at times. And I think that's what we're all very excited to see and what we all kind of knew was coming as he moved into this new role. And that's the best way to use him, to make him a person and a player that the opposing offense has to identify and at times change what they're doing based on alignment. Not always going to be in the same spot. That's going to be really, really cool to see how Matt House deploys his All-American linebacker. And the last one that I found a little bit interesting because Brian Kelly obviously has seen a little bit of the numbers through 1 week of a little bit of college football. And this was a direct quote from Brian Kelly. He said, you're going to lose 5 or 6 plays with the new clock rule. Now, if you're not familiar with the new clock rule, they're going to wind the clock after first downs now. Of course, in college football, the fact was that the clock would stop when you got a first down. They're going to run it now. So it doesn't, to me as a fan, affect the viewership. I'll tell you what it does for me as I kind of look at it with no emotion involved. LSU hasn't had a situation where that came into play yet, so I can look at it with no emotion. When I watch NFL games or, the once every 2 years I go to a Saints game or whatever the case may be, you realize, as someone personally, I watch a lot more college football than I do NFL, you realize how good the NFL quarterbacks are at running the 2-minute drill. They're just so efficient, so accurate, so decisive. It is a well-oiled machine. Colleges often are not like that. And so while the NFL, how many times you watch an NFL game and they go down the field 2 different times? 2 different teams do it in the last 2 minutes. If you were watching the Saints during the Breeze era, you saw it almost every week. In college, you don't see it as much. And now I think you're going to see it less. So this goes without saying, if you understand the rule, they're going to run the clock. But I think it's even going to lessen the amount of college offenses that are able to take the football with 2 minutes and 21 seconds to go in the game and march down the field. Not ruling out 48 seconds to go, which pro teams do it all the time. Pro teams hit a 20-yarder and then hit a little check down for another 15 and then hit a cross route over the middle, and then all of a sudden they're at the 40-yard line. They got a 57-yarder and they can make it. Like, they do it so fast, and colleges don't. So this, to me, is going to limit the amount of times that a team goes down and wins the game. That's what I look at from my perspective. Brian Kelly is looking at it as well. We're going to lose 5 or 6 plays, and that's what his math is telling him from week 1, I'm assuming. So something to monitor, something we'll certainly know and be aware of. I think there are probably some people that weren't aware of the rule change as we sit here a couple of days out from the real start of college football. But that's the case, and obviously LSU's looked into it and understand how it's going to affect what they're going to do. So those are kind of my biggest takeaways from Brian Kelly's press luncheon on a Monday. If you missed it earlier, you're just jumping in the car, catching me, or you've only been here for 30 minutes, our Monday schedules change with LSU football having Brian Kelly's press luncheon every single Monday. So we'll still have OTB from 7 to 10, but right at 10 o'clock, you'll have Live at Lunch with Charlie and Jimmy, and they'll go until about 11:30. So an hour and a half from 10 to 11:30. That's when they'll hand it off to the LSU Sports Radio Network. You'll hear Chris Blair and Goldie Rush. They'll chat about the game that just happened and the game to come, and then you'll hear from Brian Kelly at about noon until 12:30. At 12:30, Live at Lunch will come back for the final 30 minutes of that show, and they'll hand it off to me. So OTB, Hunt Palmer Show, and AFR are not impacted, but Live at Lunch does move up an hour, and they'll kind of bridge the gap between those two. So we did have that today. So if you're listening, you want to hear the Brian Kelly press conference, you can hear that every Monday at noon right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. When we come back, I'm talking Saints. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
A hurricane kind of bearing down on Florida here. It looks like it's going to stay east of us, but you know what this time of year brings in South Louisiana. Be prepared. Be prepared with a generator. Be prepared with a generator from Boudreaux's Electric. Boudreaux's Electric, certified Generac dealer. Not just that, a premier Generac dealer. They've been in the top 3% nationwide. Neil and Melissa Boudreaux operating that company the way they have for 40 years. One of the best features that they have over Boudreaux's Electric is their ability to monitor your generator. So if it fails for any reason or it's not prepared to come on, they'll know about it because they're monitoring it 24 hours a day. And they can come to your home and fix it. Maybe there's some sort of issue technically. Maybe it's just the kids out there playing around and somebody hits it with a ball and knocks something loose. The second that happens, Boudreaux's Electric is going to know about it when they monitor it. They can come out and make sure that your generator is ready to roll when you need it. Could be an afternoon storm, could be a hurricane. And obviously you're going to need that generator in those times. Call them. Same number they've had for 40 years. It's 985-397-1562. All generators come with a free 10-year warranty at Boudreaux's Electric. Call them at 985-397-1562.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. It's game week. Brian Kelly meets with the media to preview LSU Florida State. We'll let you hear everything the coach has to say. Join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Saints wrapped up their preseason slate last night with the Texans inside Mercedes-Benz Superdome. No, Caesars Superdome. I'll die hard eventually. Caesars Superdome. We know what preseason games are. They are important in some aspects, but any massive takeaways are generally going to be overreactions. It's a glorified practice, and at this point, starters in the NFL just really don't participate. They get some work in early in camp. They get some work in a joint practice one week, maybe a series here or there, first game, third game, whatever the case may be. Most of it is backups, guys trying to make a roster, and even to the point where it's a lot of guys who are going to get cut that are just putting something on tape so maybe somebody else will give them a look sometime down the line. I mean, you realize that they're going from somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 players to 53 in a practice squad. Everybody's cutting 35 guys tomorrow. It's a lot of dudes getting laid off. And those are a lot of the guys taking the reps last night. So I don't have any sort of monster takeaway from last night's game with the Saints. There are a couple of things that did stick out that we'll talk about, and we'll play some Dennis Allen sound. And the first was, of course, the early game sack where Isaiah Foskey got back there and Brian Brzee did the spin move and he got home as well. And that's your first two draft selections getting back there and making a highlight play. Now, is it against the reserve offensive line? Sure. And my takeaway from it was I was just glad for Isaiah Foskey to make that play, because we have not had a single media member come on this show and speak positively about Isaiah Foskey since they broke camp. Like, we just have not heard that. Everyone is, yeah, he's a work in progress. Yeah, he's a project. Yeah, he's got a ways to go. Yeah, he struggled a little bit. Like, that's been basically the memo the entire camp. And look, they haven't seen every single thing, and maybe people are being a little bit too hard. Whatever the case may be, it just hasn't been positive. And so for him to get back there and make that play, I thought was great for him. I did see some twitchiness from Brzee, some athleticism from Brzee, and when we heard, some of the sound last week from Malcolm Roach, who was saying, man, this dude is just built different. If we can just get him to hone in on his technique, he's going to be a monster, all that kind of stuff. I enjoyed seeing those two guys. And yesterday, Dennis Allen was asked about the play of Brzee and Foskey in the game.
I thought he was active in the game. I don't know what his final stats were, but I did think he was active in the game, both in against the run and, with the pass rush. So I thought I saw, looked like there was a couple of good things I saw at Isaiah Foskey also in the game. So we got some tough decisions that are coming up. We got a lot of good football players on this team, and we got to make some decisions over the next 48 hours.
Obviously, Brzee and Foskey are going to make the roster. And what they decide to do with Isaiah Foskey, especially early on, if you don't think he can help you much, is a little bit up for discussion. But Brzee is going to be on the roster, and he'll be a rotational piece early on. Foskey may be a healthy scratch at times. We'll see what the situation is. But I just thought it was really nice to see a flash there. And oftentimes early in a college baseball season, I'll say, look, these first couple of weeks, show me what you can do. I don't know what you can't do based on 3 weeks of baseball, but you can show me something that you can do. If you can throw a fastball 98 miles an hour, you show me you can throw a fastball 98 miles an hour. And on that play, Brian Brzee and Isaiah Foskey showed they could rush the passer against professional linemen and do so with sound technique. Foskey did a little dip and rip and got under, and Brzee hit a little spin move and used a little burst and got back there. And that was good to see for those two guys for sure. I think the biggest talking point, certainly on social media yesterday with the Saints, was the play of Jimmy Graham early. He makes the contested catch down the field. He makes a contested catch in the end zone, and there's just a lot of buzz of, man, this feels like 2014 again. But I let's hear what Dennis Allen had to say about Jimmy Graham, and I'll give you my thoughts.
Probably since the Charger practices, I started to see, some signs of the mental picture that I have of Jimmy Graham. And then again, I saw it this week in practice, and I saw it carry over into the game. So that was a positive.
My take on Jimmy Graham, and I feel like folks have thought I've been hard on Jimmy Graham. It's not been that, well, this guy can't play at all. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you've got a limited roster size, and you've got Juwan Johnson, who's kind of emerging as a really strong pass catcher at that position. You've got Foster Moreau, who's a proven pro, who gives you a little more size that Juwan Johnson doesn't, who can catch the football and block, and if you need him to play some special teams and whatnot, can do it. And he's just a nice asset to your team that Derek Carr's got a relationship with. And then you've got Taysom Hill, who's a gadget guy that plays that position and can kind of do some different things there. My assertion is not that Jimmy Graham can't play at all. It's just that on this roster, could I use that spot for something that gives me a little bit more? And then he goes out there last night and does some really impressive things. And yeah, he makes a catch where he basically boxes out the defender in the end zone and catches a jump ball. I think Foster Moreau can do that. Juwan Johnson's not going to catch one exactly like that, but he can make plays in the end zone. You're not going to get that from Taysom Hill. So if they put him on the roster, I'm not going to suggest, oh my God, they wasted a spot. This guy stinks. He's old. He can't do anything. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I think they've got a solid tight end group, and maybe they can use some more help at linebacker in the secondary on an offensive line that's got some issues on the second team. So it was undoubtedly great for Jimmy Graham last night to make those two catches and do what his role would be. Make no mistake, if he's on this team, he's not an every down player. He's a third down red zone guy who's just really difficult to cover because of the size of his body and the catch radius that he's got. And that's what he showed last night. So that's a really good thing, and I think it makes the decision a little bit more difficult. This, 2 weeks ago when we were talking about a guy who had been arrested and we weren't sure what he could do and what his health situation was, I think that clouded things a good bit. Now, it definitely makes that decision a little bit more difficult for the Saints front office and how they want to handle Jimmy Graham. But no doubt he did a great job last night. So Dennis Allen kind of put a wrap on the preseason last night after the loss to the Texans.
I don't think you're ever where you want to be or where we need to be. We're in a race to improve, getting ready for the opener this, here in 2 weeks from today. But there's a lot of positives with this football team right now. But yet there's certainly some things we got to improve on.
I would agree. There are a lot of positives. I thought there were a lot of really good things in training camp and preseason for the Saints. I thought the emergence of Kendre Miller as a pass catcher was something I was thrilled to see. I thought the play of some of the defensive linemen that you had brought in was encouraging. I thought Marshawn Lattimore had a brilliant start to camp. We'll see what the injury is, but I thought he had a really good start to camp, and I thought the battle between Alontae Taylor and Paulson Adebo was highly contested at a high level. I thought that was very, very good. I thought Trevor Penning staying healthy was good. Michael Thomas staying healthy was good. And I think that there's a lot of excitement about Derek Carr and what he could bring to the franchise. I thought Will Lutz was excellent, which was a really good thing to see. So you go into this thing as the betting favorite to win the division, and you feel like you've got a chance to make a push. I'm not sold on this team as being as good as Kansas City, being as good as Cincinnati or Buffalo. I'm not sold on them being as good as San Francisco or Philly. But I think that it's a solid football team that needs to win some of those 50-50 games late. You need to win the Bengals game from last year instead of letting Jamar Chase get loose for 60 yards late. You need to win that game in Tampa, not step out of bounds right before the first down marker. You need to win some of those 50-50 games and tilt that record 2 or 3 ticks up and you ought to be in good shape. First things first, you got to cut the roster down to 53. We'll talk about that tomorrow when they get it done. And then you get ready for the Titans. But I thought it was a pretty solid training camp and preseason for the black and gold. Move forward starting tomorrow with your roster that you're set. All right, when we come back, we'll close out hour number 1. LSU awarded some numbers yesterday. I'll give you my thoughts.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now's the best time to join FanDuel. The app's easy to use. You can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/1045ESPN to kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as a non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green. This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing.
Charles Hanniger, join us for the next edition of Live at Lunch from Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. We'll take a look back at what Brian Kelly said about Florida State and its cutdown day in the NFL. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Football season is finally here. You can make your picks now for week 1 in the 2023 104.5 ESPN Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em over at 1045ESPN.com. Weekly winners are going to receive a Twin Peaks gift card, and the first place season-long champion will get a 75-inch 4K TV and soundbar. It's the 2023 104.5 ESPN Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, scenic views. Brian Kelly awarded a couple of numbers over the weekend, as is tradition here in Baton Rouge. Number 18, I had told you I thought would go to Josh Williams, the running back. In fact, it goes to Mekhi Wingo, another player that LSU brought to SEC Media Days. Wingo had obviously a fantastic season last year at LSU after a really strong freshman year at Missouri. His role becomes even more important in this Florida State game with Mason Smith being out. But Mekhi Wingo, by all accounts, is a tremendous guy in the locker room. He's been a great player, great representative of LSU, and I think will wear the number 18 exceptionally well. I used to know the players a little bit better when I covered the team day to day and did player interviews on Mondays and Tuesdays and after the game on Saturdays. So I can't give a great testimony for Mekhi Wingo or Josh Williams or any of the candidates that would have been for number 18, but this seems to be great for me. And if Mekhi's fired up about it and the team's fired up about it, that's fantastic. A little bit of an interesting wrinkle here on the number 7, which we think of as a playmaker. We think of Leonard Fournette, and we think of DJ Chark, and we think of Derek Stingley, and we think of Kayshon Boutte wore it, and like you think of guys that have the ball in their hands and score touchdowns and make huge plays. Not necessarily your left tackle, but Will Campbell has been awarded the number 7, and you're saying, well, he can't wear 7, and that's right, he can't wear 7, but he can wear a patch on his jersey, just like Lloyd Cushenberry did on the 2019 team as a center. So a little bit of a different play on the term playmaker. Brian Kelly talked about it at his news conference today, saying, look, I understand the traditions. We're not trying to do things differently or make them our own. We understand that there's a great tradition of playmakers that wore number 7, and the playmaker that we wanted to honor with that number this year is Will Campbell. And I think Will Campbell is primed for a phenomenal next 2 years in Baton Rouge and a long career in the NFL. You just very rarely see a player at that position come in as a true freshman in the spring and be named the left tackle after a couple of weeks of spring football. In fact, I've never seen that. Of course, you didn't have early enrollees some time ago, so it couldn't happen. But now that you do, seeing a guy be named the first team left tackle that early is just crazy. And Will Campbell did nothing to suggest he couldn't handle it all of last year. And he'll have a big job on his hands this weekend. We'll see where Jared Verse lines up and what he does and how Florida State decides to use him. But you'd imagine from time to time, Big 66, who will have a 7 patch on his uniform, we'll be seeing some of him. And so I think it's great, whatever. I don't get, all in a tizzy about the numbers. I think it's fun for the players, and that's the most important thing. If they told me tomorrow we're not doing it next year, I wouldn't shed a tear. But I'm not here to tell you that I think that, you can't give 7 to an offensive lineman. How stupid is that? Like, you're not going to get that from me either. I think if the players appreciate it, it's something they can rally around as a team, and it means something to the guys, and they want to work towards that. I think that's fantastic. So you'll get a little more information on all that from Hester and Brandon Taylor on my pregame show this weekend as guys that wore that number. But I think Mekhi Wingo at 18 and Will Campbell at 7 is great for those guys. And so it's time to start a football season now that those guys know what number they will be wearing. That's it for hour number 1 here on a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here. Open the show with Brian Kelly press conference notes. We went over those for the first 30 minutes of the show. There was a lot that Brian Kelly got to, and I tried to hit as much of it as I could that I thought was relevant. Then we went Saints-Texans and my thoughts on the Saints preseason kind of as a whole. If you missed any of it, you can catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab. All the shows are listed there, and all of the full audio is uploaded there each and every day. You can catch us on Spotify, Google, Apple Podcast as well, if that's your jam. Or you can find us on YouTube. If you're looking for LSU content, Hunt on LSU on YouTube. All of my Saints content, Hunt on Saints on YouTube. We're trying to get those subscribers numbers up a little bit. So if you go to YouTube and subscribe to those, we certainly would appreciate it. And it'll make your life a lot easier, because if you want Saints content, it'll go right to your YouTube homepage. You want LSU content right there as well. Beck does a great job of cutting all that stuff up and putting it up. So we appreciate that. If you throw us a like here on the and subscription on this Monday. Big hour number 2 with a couple of guests coming up. Very much looking forward to chatting with that guy, Marlon Favre. I have Big Fave with me on the LSU Sports Radio Network every single Saturday. In this case, on Sunday. Looking forward to getting back to work with him. How big a loss is Mason Smith for this team against Florida State? Fave will have the answer to that. Plus, might get into a little Saints talk with Big Fave as well. And at 2:30, new guests that we're going to welcome each and every Monday at 2:30. That's Denton Day from Sirius XM. Talk national college football with Denton. Come back with us after SportsCenter. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is
is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news from ESPN's Adam Schefter. The Cardinals don't plan to activate quarterback Kyler Murray off the PUP list by tomorrow's deadline. That would leave him ineligible for the first 4 games of the regular season. Cards also released QB Colt McCoy, so either Josh Dobbs or rookie Clayton Tune will start week 1. Murray's coming back from a knee injury. Bolts running back Jonathan Taylor facing a deadline tomorrow to find a suitable trade. Miami's one of 2 teams who've engaged Indy in trade offers. That offense with Taylor would be unstoppable, says ESPN's Ryan Clark.
You add Jonathan Taylor to Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa, and Tyreek Hill, it was already a 4x1 track team. To get that sort of explosion in one-cut slasher and a runner, now you can't stack the box to play Jonathan Taylor because of what they can do on the outside. And if you go too high safeties, he's absolutely going to gut you.
Another strong performance off the bench for Team USA by Austin Reeves at the FIBA World Cup. 15 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. The United States rolled by Greece 109-81 and is on to round 2.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2 on this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hope your work week is off to a good start. It's about to get a little bit better because we're headed out to the Jim's Firearms Hotline to chat with my guy, Big Fave. Big Fave been with me on the LSU Sports Radio Network since 2017. Back for another go. Fave, you ready to roll?
I'm ready to roll, baby. You know how we do this. Hello, somebody. Let's get it. Year 2 of BK. Let's get it poppin'.
How's year 2 from BK different from year 1 of BK as we enter the season?
Well, I think I'll talk about more of the personal side of him, right? Being embedded in the area now. He gets the culture. We had a alumni practice watch. You know, he comes in, he gives the alumni opportunity to talk. He says, guys, if you want an opportunity to ask me any questions, ask me anything you want. Yes, we're going to beat Alabama. Yes, we're going to win a national championship. Any other questions? It's like, this dude is funny. So, you know, of course, I asked about Ashton Stamps, my West Bank boy, and John Emery, and he answered everything to the T. So get this. After I'm talking with him and Coach Frank Wilson, Coach Frank said, hey, let Rob Royal and Big Fave know why I had you last week. He said, oh, Frank had me in the cutoff, man. There's some ballers back there in Algiers. I love it in the cutoff. I'm like, what's going on? It's okay. He's getting in it. And that's what I like. That's how you win games. You know, you get embedded in the culture, understand how we view things, and understand the amount of talent we have in this area. So I'm excited for a second go-around with it.
You want to talk about the wide receivers and cornerbacks? You want to go straight to the defensive line?
I mean, let's look. You know what?
We're going straight to the defensive line. How big a deal is Mason Smith not being around for this game?
A medium. It's a medium deal. I think it's a medium deal. Just looking at the front, guys like Jacoby and Guillory able to fill information. I think for him, it's a big deal because this is the same game you got hurt in last year, and this suspension would have been out the way hadn't you not got hurt last year. So for the team, for the D-line, what I saw, I think they have enough capable guys up front, particularly on the edge, but I think it's a medium deal for the Tigers.
Mekhi Wingo being awarded number 18. What does that mean to you as a defensive lineman?
That eventually we'll have a number 99, and then, yes, you can be fat or a big player up front and wear a skinny number. Well, Hester had big hands and a big head. He wore 18, so it kind of made him. Well, it worked out. Brandon wore 18. You know, Brandon got the no neck. So I think it's a cool thing for the big guys. Now, seriously, Hunt, in all honesty, it speaks a lot about this kid. I mean, one of the higher rated guys in the transfer portal last year comes to LSU. You and I, me, you and Brandon, watched this team week in and week out, and how they didn't have a lot of depth in the interior line last year, and this kid was able to put in the miles and make SEC Player of the Week a couple of times and do what he did on the interior line. He earned that number 8 team.
I know you always talk about pass rush, and Harold Perkins was the best pass rusher that LSU had last year. He's going to back up a little bit and play a little bit more on the inside of linebacker. He'll still rush the passer, but he's going to play some inside backer. Where else does LSU find some pass rush on this defense?
I think at Savion Jones, listen, man, I was on the sideline talking with Scott Woodward and talking with a couple of coaches, and they spoke highly about this kid. And I worked with him last summer. My cousin Jared Favorite had a football camp, and me and Savion were working with the linemen. And, you know, he definitely takes coaching. He says less. Jack Marucci said he reminds him of Tyson Jackson. Makes a lot of sense. He's a kid from the River Parish. I think this is the breakout season for him. Just looking stout. So I think we'll get some pressure from that side of the line of scrimmage.
Are you worried about the secondary? That seems to be the biggest question on this defense.
You know what, Hunt? I watched some 7-on-7 with both Jaden Daniels and
Nussmeier.
Nussmeier. Why was I about to say Zach Mettenberg? Boy, I tell you, football season is almost there. My phone is charged, though, Hunt. I'm talking to you on a charged phone.
Impressive.
But the defensive backs, I think they're going to surprise our fans. I told you about Ashton Stamps. He's rotating in a 1B player. I think Major Burns is a solid vocal guy in that secondary, along with my West Bank boy, Greg Brewster. Yeah, you heard me out there. We're going to be straight in the secondary. I think people worried about our secondary. You heard me. They need to know we're straight. You dig? So you're going to say something along those lines. Now, something that looks unique is seeing Sage Ryan at the weak side corner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I don't want to put a question mark on that because I don't think he's not capable. I just don't think that's the best way he contributes. So that's going to be interesting to see. And my boy OV, baby. OV was one of the first dudes hit me up. Come down from Texas, he hit me up. We have a mutual friend, and I think him at the Jack linebacker is going to light up a lot of fans, too, on the D-line. There's one guy I was forgetting. But the secondary, I think they're going to be okay. Zay Alexander looked decent out there. I think it's because it's a new group for us at the corners, right? We know what Greg Brooks brings. We know what type of player Major Burns is. We know how Sage Ryan looked as a safety, but they moved some things around, and I trust Coach Matt House. I do believe that we're going to be intact on the secondary.
John, we're the guy, Big Fave, Marlon Favorite, former Tiger national champion, with us on the LSU Sports Radio Network pre- and post-game. We'll be coming at you on Sunday at 4:30 for LSU game day. Let's flip to the offense, Big Fave. What do you need to see from Jaden Daniels this year?
A mature Heisman candidate. That's what I see. I see a guy that has enough experience at the quarterback position playing against high-level talent in regards to playing in FBS ball. He has a full year down here. He spent a winter, a springtime, went through summer training. He's the guy for it. I think he can potentially lead us to the promised land, but at least take us to the road too. We have a road to get there, right? We go to Alabama this year. We start off against Florida State. Obviously, one of the games that we lost last year is going to be a huge test for two top 10 teams starting off the season, going against another top quarterback in Jordan. So I'm excited for him. I'm with all the smoke with him. And you know how I look at it, Hunt. All fails, he's going to take off with them wheels, baby. We're going to get the first.
He will do that. All right, so obviously, as you mentioned, LSU lost this game in heartbreaking fashion in the Dome last year. We were up there in the press box crying. You lose it on a blocked extra point. Do you think the players care about that? Is that in the rearview mirror, or do they use that as motivation on Sunday?
They're going to use this as motivation on Sunday. They will use this as motivation, Hunt. They don't forget it. they know what losing this game costs. I mean, you beat Alabama last year. You go to the SEC championship. You lose the SEC championship to Georgia, and because you only have a one loss to Tennessee or you may have just lost to Georgia, you're in a much better position. Yeah, Florida State is that stain. And just telling you from those players' perspective, they're going to come out fired up, especially the guys that played in that game last year. I mean, you look back, Harold Perkins, he didn't play in that game last year. So he's just going to come out there like, hey, y'all didn't meet me. Y'all don't know how Big Perk worked, baby. Hello, somebody. So he going to come out there fired up. I don't think Emory Jones, neither Will Campbell played in that game last year. So what we saw, Hunt, was an underdeveloped team. Coach Kelly had just got here. We just found out our starting quarterback, and we still almost won that game. Hunt, how bad the play calling was last year for Florida State. They had so many times to put us out, and they kept us in, but hey, it's going to be competitive, so I'm excited for this showdown.
How do we slow down Jordan Travis? He was tough last year.
I think with guys like Ovi, a mature Savion Jones, setting contain. I don't think we had good contain last year. He was able to spurt out the pocket. I think on our interior line, Wingo, he's a superstar now. He's a stud. I do think we can add and apply pressure with our front four guys. That'll allow us to run around on the backside. I mean, of course, we're going to find a way to either A, have Harold Perkins spy Jordan, or B, have him blitz a couple times for that middle linebacker package. But that's going to be one of the more interesting pieces for me, just being able to see how we're going to utilize Harold Perkins in this game and just those defensive ends being able to keep, Jack and defensive end, able to keep that contained. And I think he's going to see more pressure for sure than he's seen in previous years with us.
All right, Fave, 3 things. White shirt, 4:30. And charge your phone. That's it. Can you handle that on Sunday?
Now, you say 4:30, right? Do you mean get there for 4?
That would be good if you got there at 4. Yeah, that'd be good. We can go over some notes, get there at 4, make sure the mics are all working and whatnot, and we'll be ready to go at 4:30.
There you go. And then give me some space. Make sure I get the seat first, because Brandon with his wide shoulders be wanting to knock me out and all that. So, yeah, that's a good idea. 4 o'clock Sunday in the studio, baby.
I can't wait. We'll see you there, bud.
See you, Hunt.
That's Big Fave, Marlon Fave, right? Big number 99, member of the LSU Sports Radio Network. Every once in a while, Big Fave shows up and his phone's on like 2%. Fave, we gotta do better than that. Every once in a while, maybe gotta get him into the studio one time. But we're gonna get that done on Sunday. 4:30 is where you'll catch us. Incidentally, Charlie will be on LSU Game Day from over at Rouse's at 1:30 p.m. 5 hours before kickoff, and he'll lead right into us at 4:30. For 6:30 kickoff from Orlando Camping World Stadium, LSU and Florida State. Speaking of Florida State, when we come back, you'll hear from from FSU head coach Mike Norvell.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com is the website. Free. Free is good, right? To have David Duvall and his team come in and do the consultation is free. It doesn't cost you anything. They'll come over, they'll look at your bathroom, they'll look at your closet, they'll tell you what they can do for you. That doesn't cost you anything. And if you decide to do a combo, you want to do the bathroom and the closet renovation/remodel, 10% off. Hunt Palmer Show listeners, 10% off. It could be a full-scale renovation, could just be a tub-to-shower conversion. You don't use your bathtub anymore. You don't have a 20-month-old like I do who's splashing around like a crazy person every single night. No, you just take showers. We'll take that old bathtub out, put in a gorgeous new glass walk-in shower. Changes the functionality of your bathroom as well as the aesthetic of it. Onebathandclosets.com is the website. You can see the testimonials. You can request that free consultation I'm telling you about. It's onebathandclosets.com, onebathandclosets.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7, The Tiger.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. It's game week. Brian Kelly meets with the media to preview LSU Florida State. We'll let you hear everything the coach has to say. Join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I like to get names correct. I feel like far too often people in media, especially spoken media, mispronounce names and don't give effort. And it's now coming to my attention that I don't know what the name of this hurricane is. I can read it, but I don't know how to say it. It's not a laughing matter, but I should know the name of the hurricane, and I don't. But the good news is that Mike Norvell does know the name of it, and he has updated the media on kind of Florida State's week as this hurricane does look like it's approaching the Florida coast here and should be there midweek. So whether or not that's going to affect the game, we'll see. It doesn't appear that way at the moment, but it should probably affect Florida State's midweek at some point. And Mike Norvell spoke about that today.
You know, obviously something that we're tracking, you know, just for our guys here, and you know, we get great communication, university, athletic department, all things that we're aware of. But you know, right now we always will have plans if things need to adapt and adjust. But it's not something that we're thinking is going to, you know, at this time make a huge impact for our preparation this week, or what, you know, that would be for the end of the week towards the game.
Idalia? I don't know what it is, but look, it appears, and Brian Kelly was asked about it today on his at his press conference and said, look, it appears, unless there's some sort of massive shift in the next 48 hours, that it's going to be out to sea by the time we're supposed to travel over to Orlando. That's what Brian Kelly said. we'll see. If something changes, certainly we'll pass that information along. But Mike Norvell talked about a number of football things as well, and the question was asked to him, how is Jordan Travis a little bit different? Now, this will be the 4th time that Jordan Travis will have played Brian Kelly.
Jordan's always been an explosive player. You've seen the complete player, and the explosiveness that he had with his legs, and even the moments with his arms, just the consistency of what he does in the passing game. The control of the offense, the confidence that he has in the situations and what he's being asked to do. He's done it all now to this point. So that experience, and then just the confidence of being in it, and I think he's put himself in a position to have the best year that he's had, and definitely. He's a special player.
I'm going to do a pretty extensive dive into Jordan Travis, his college career, the game he played against LSU last year, and then what he went on to do later in the season for tomorrow's show. It's going to be one of the things that I want to talk about extensively. He's a great player, and I think anybody that is pulling for LSU and watching the game last year realizes what most of the problem was for LSU. They simply could not stop him on third down. He was absolutely remarkable on almost every third down. So he's veteran. He's not necessarily the most gifted guy in terms of straight line speed or arm strength or height or physicality. He's just played a lot of football, and he's just a solid college quarterback. And that's concerning for me, said LSU fan, as LSU and Florida State get ready to roll on Sunday night. Norvell talked about putting in the work to have a season opening test like LSU. If you look at the schedule for week 1 in college football, it's not that great. LSU and Florida State is by far the best matchup on the card this weekend. So both of these programs have a little different test than every other program in college football because they're expected to be championship teams, and they're playing one in week 1.
A really, really good fall camp. I'm really proud of our football team, just the work that they put in. It all stretches back to January when we got started to push, to progress, to improve, to get to this point. And I do feel that we have a team that is prepared at a very high level. They've worked extremely hard. The size, speed, athleticism, overall football intelligence, I think have all improved within our team. We're excited for the opportunity that's ahead, and a chance to go out with our first game and work to go put the best version of ourselves out on that field next Sunday night.
Interestingly, LSU's offense played well in the second half against Florida State last year. We'll get into some of that as well as we move forward in the week. And they finally found a way to start moving the ball. Jaden Daniels was able to throw it a little bit, and of course, you scored a touchdown there on the last play of the game before the blocked extra point. But LSU was good offensively in the second half. LSU was abysmal in the first half on offense. Abysmal. They could not block Jared Verse at all. They really couldn't block anybody. And Jaden Daniels was hesitant, and he just ran a lot. And basically all they could do in the first half was have Jaden Daniels run around. And while that looked really cool in the first drive as you came down and were looking to move the football, and it was exciting to see, oh, my God, look at this quarterback that can tuck it and go. And then you took a shot in the end zone to Kayshawn, and it didn't work out. But it just bogged down. They just could not get anything done offensively, and they figured it out in the second half. But Mike Norvell was asked about LSU's offense, and it's reasonable to say that the group that Florida State plays against in the first half of this game should look different than it did in the first half of last game, and he spoke to that.
This is a team that they are very talented. Offensively, they return a lot of production. Some guys that were young that got thrown out there early. You saw them develop. Obviously, Daniel's the quarterback. He's a very talented young man, not only with his arm, but what he could do with his legs. You had to account for him in every way. You saw their running game could continue to take form as the season went on. Probably going to be one of the best receiving corps that we play all year. Here kicking off the season. I mean, it's a very talented and deep group.
We've got a lot to break down with this game as the week goes on, and we're not going to go through all of that on Monday and Tuesday. As I mentioned, we're going to do some other things tomorrow. We'll have Glenn West on tomorrow. We'll have Sharif Ishaq talking Saints tomorrow. We'll talk about the Saints 53 that they've cut down to, and I want to talk about Jordan Travis a good bit tomorrow. I'm going to try to get Brandon Taylor, my other co-host, on the pregame show, postgame show tomorrow as well. But as we get later in the week, I'll give you just a sneak peek of one of my early reads on this game. LSU's going to need its offense. I think LSU will need its offense on Sunday. I don't believe LSU can win the game 20-17 on Sunday. But the good news is I think the offense is going to be really good. So just an early just a little nugget to toss out there on my view of this game. LSU, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Noah Cain, Josh Williams, Mason Taylor, Brian Thomas, Will Campbell, Emory Jones. That group's going to have to play well in this game for LSU to win. Just an early kind of thought on LSU and Florida State. Football season's finally here. You can make your picks now for week 1 in the 2023 1045 ESPN Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em at 1045ESPN.com. Weekly winners are going to get a Twin Peaks gift card. The first place season-long champ, get this, 75-inch 4K TV and soundbar. It's the 2023 1045 ESPN Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, and scenic views. We got 30 minutes to go here on this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week is off to a good start. When we come back, our normal Monday guest makes his first appearance. Denton Day from Sirius XM Radio, talking college football a little bit on a national scale most weeks, but we'll get some serious LSU and Florida State talk in. That's next.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home in Baton Rouge. Operator, what you put me on through? Gotta send my love down the
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Sandiger, join us for the next edition of Live at Lunch from Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. We'll take a look back at what Brian Kelly said about Florida State, and it's cutdown day in the NFL. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You've been listening to me on the air for the last 7 years as I've been doing LSU's pre- and post-game show. You know that when they announce an 8 o'clock game time, I groan a little bit. I know you love it as the fan. You love the night game. And well, shut up, Hunt. Well, the reason is because I don't really want to be on the air until 2 o'clock in the morning. That's just not my favorite thing to do. I'd rather kind of get home at a more reasonable hour. Well, our next guest is going to be on the air until 2 o'clock in the morning every Saturday, no matter what, because he is the new host of College Football Overtime on SiriusXM's College Sports, and he's going to be with us every single Monday. He is Denton Day. Denton, congratulations on the new gig on Saturday nights, and appreciate you joining us here on a Monday.
Hunt, I appreciate it, my friend. You are correct. The 2 a.m. thing is kind of a pain. You know, I'm more of a morning person personally, so staying up that late it requires some late coffee, like coffee like 8 p.m., which feels weird. But when in college football season, man, as you know, like I'm ready for it. Yeah, I'll stay up late and sweat out some Pac-12 after dark bets. You know,
it's here, and that's always an enjoyable thing to do. Look, week 0 in the rearview mirror. Anything stand out to you? Whether you want to hit on Southern Cal, you want to talk about Notre Dame or Vanderbilt, or something else that may have stood out in week 0.
Yeah, the big shining star was Sam Hartman. I had a pretty good feeling that when he came from Wake Forest, this was going to be the best chance that Notre Dame's offense has to be nationally relevant in probably my entire lifetime, right? Like I'm under the age of 30, so I haven't really seen Notre Dame with a passing offense that can kind of strike fear in the opponents. Now they have that. I mean, I don't really know how good Navy is. I know their defense was good last year. Maybe they're just going to be really bad this year. But maybe they're also really good, and Sam Hartman is just even better. Watching him and watching Notre Dame to kick off the season was really, really great. And then you mentioned USC. They still have some of the same issues. They're going to score a lot of points, but against teams with capable offenses, they're going to surrender a lot of points as well. For whatever reason, Lincoln Riley loves himself some Alex Grinch. I told my lady, I was like, you need to commit to me the way that Lincoln Riley commits to Alex Grinch, and our relationship is going to be picture perfect.
I mean, Alex Grinch was the defensive coordinator at Oklahoma when LSU scored 413 points in the first half of a playoff game. So it was concerning enough, even against a team that they could overwhelm offensively, to look at that and go, this is not good. Yeah,
it was, because they're going to play teams with good quarterbacks. Like when they line up against some of these teams in the Pac-12, you know, what I think got lost in all the realignment thing is that the Pac-12 is actually going to be pretty good this year. It sucks because it's the final year of the conference, but they got a lot of teams at the top of the conference that are going to be able to put up points. And if you still have defensive issues and you have issues tackling, they're going to be in for a difficult season, USC is.
Let's kind of shift forward here and talk about some games in week 1 and some big picture stuff as well as we get ready for most of the country to kick off their season. We start with Utah and Florida on Thursday night out in Utah. Where are you on this Florida program as Billy Napier enters year 2?
I'm optimistic. I think that's the perfect way to put it now, just not knowing what this team is going to be. This, to me, seems like more of the bridge year. And then next year for Florida is going to be where they kind of take a step forward. Obviously, they had Anthony Richardson last year, and he's no longer there in the NFL. So I don't really know what a fair expectation is for a team that I don't think is going to be great. I mean, maybe they get to a bowl. Like, I think that would be successful for Florida this year. But my expectations aren't exceptionally high. And even though they play in the SEC East, right? Like, that's the side of the conference you want to be on. But I just don't know offensively what we're going to realistically get from them.
And Cam Rising, the point spread would suggest that he's probably not going to play in this game. Is that enough for you to feel like Florida can go out there and win?
Maybe not win, but it might be enough for me to think they can cover. Cam Rising's a gamer, man. I mean, he is an absolute gamer. The thing with Kyle Whittingham is, though, he's never going to let us know until his first down. We're either going to see Cam Rising trot out there or we're not going to see Cam Rising, and then we'll know, all right, he's playing or he's not playing. He's so good at keeping things as close to the vest as possible. But if Cam Rising's not out there, I would maybe look at Florida covering the 6.5 that I see that now.
Speaking of guys that aren't going to let you know until first down, Nick Saban's made that abundantly clear with his starting quarterback. He didn't release a depth chart today for the first time in his coaching career. Where are you on that quarterback position and that team entering this year?
First of all, I hate when coaches don't do that depth chart thing. I mean, for the love of God, help us out a little bit here. I understand the competitive nature of these things, but, I mean, come on, help us out a little bit. I think Milrow's going to be the guy. I think this is going to be kind of the old school doesn't seem like the right word, but I think this is going to be like the pre-Tua Mac Jones version of Alabama, where they're going to be more run-focused and run-heavy. And they have a guy that can make some throws, but they don't want to rely on him to make a ton of throws. So I think you're going to see a more old school-ish approach from Nick Saban in Alabama this year, and there are a couple teams in the SEC West that might scare.
There's no question about it. Going to high-profile quarterback to high-profile quarterback situation. Let's go up to Columbus, Ohio State. They just kind of churn through them, and guys throw for a bajillion yards, and they score a ton of points. Wide receiver's not an issue, but what does the quarterback spot look like in Columbus?
Well, my long-lost uncle, Ryan Day, said that he took a poll amongst his coaches, and it was split directly down the middle. Hunt, I'm not a genius, right? I'm not a genius. I don't claim to be a genius. However, I do know if I'm going to take a poll and there are two options, I'm at least going to ask an odd amount of people so it does not get split down the middle 50-50. That seems very easy and very obvious to do right from the jump. Look, whoever plays quarterback for them is going to have the benefit of the two best wide receivers potentially in America, and a guy in Marvin Harrison that might be a legitimate Heisman contender. So their job is going to be easy, but you've got to figure out who's going to be your quarterback by the time you get to the bulk of your schedule, because if Notre Dame is legit, if what we saw on Saturday from Notre Dame is going to be real throughout the entirety of the season, when Ohio State plays Notre Dame, if they haven't had that quarterback situation fully ironed out yet, there's going to be some issues.
No doubt about it. Let's go down to Athens, Georgia. Are you a believer in Carson Beck, or do you think that program can just elevate whoever it is that is playing quarterback for them post Stetson Bennett?
I think that program's going to elevate whoever. I've heard some good things about Carson Beck. I maybe heard some not so good things about Carson Beck. It's very odd the way that certain guys that cover Georgia describe Carson Beck. I'm in wait-and-see mode for him, but similar to what Ohio State has, whoever plays quarterback for Georgia has the ability to wait and see. The only difference between those two schools is that Georgia has the SEC East, which, as you know, is the much easier side of the SEC to play in, versus where Ohio State, you got the big guns in the Big Ten East. So Carson Beck's going to have a little bit of an easier, I think, transition than whoever plays quarterback at Ohio State.
Chatting with Denton Day. We'll do that every single Monday here on the Hunt Palmer Show. You can catch him every Saturday, Central Time, 11 to 1 a.m. on College Football Overtime, Sirius XM Channel 84. Denton, your thoughts on Texas A&M at this point in the Petrino, and then they announced Connor Wigton to be the starting quarterback today. Obviously a bad year last year. Where are you on the Aggies?
I'm in for the drama. I'm ready for them to give us all of the drama that they gave us last year. I think with Bobby Petrino, if you keep it to just football, he's good at his job. He's a really good offensive mind. He's a really good offensive playmaker. But we know with Texas A&M, the way that situation is set up, it's going to be more than just football. There's egos involved here. And in that program in particular, there's a lot of money on the line. Because if they have another season the way that Jimbo did last year, I know that buyout is big. I think it's around $77 million if they were to let him go this year. But they have guys that will eventually pay that, right? Yep. They got boosters that will find the money somewhere to get rid of Jimbo Fisher. So this is going to be a fun season, I think, for Texas A&M if you love drama. And because I got a dog in a fight with the Aggies, I'm buckled up and ready for the drama.
So what do you think's going to happen? If I ask you to forecast, are they going to hold serve and go 8-4, or is another 6-win season is possible? Is 10 wins possible?
I would say if you're holding my feet to the fire and saying you got to make a bet, here's $100, what do you think? I'm saying 8-4. I would feel the most comfortable at 8-4. Maybe they get a big time win against potentially Alabama again or someone, and they can kind of, Jimbo can hold that over guys' head because the Alabama win just means a little bit more than, when you're beating like an Ole Miss or someone. But I would say 8-4.
What are you looking forward to on Saturday? We're going to get to LSU and Florida State next, but is there anything? It's just not a great opening slate of games, quite honestly, but where will your eyeballs be going first on Saturday?
So first is going to be right out of the gate on Fox with Colorado and TCU. I think TCU is kind of flying under the radar. Obviously, they lose Max Duggan, but their quarterback, Chandler, coming back in here. Like, I do think he can be good, but really, I'm focused the way that most other people in the nation are focused on Colorado, but I'm more pessimistic. And maybe the better way of saying this is I'm more realistic.
Yeah.
That team is a weirdly built team in Colorado. I love Deion. Deion is great. But that team is weird. When they had that video, you remember this last week, right? When they had the video of the scuffle at practice, and Deion is imploring his guys, if one of you fights, all of you fights. The message was strong. It was pure. Deion lives that. But my biggest takeaway from that video was, oh, my God, there are some small dudes on this team.
Yeah.
And you're playing big ball football now. So if they can't hang with TCU, they're going to be in for a very, very long season. I love the number, by the way. TCU laying 20.5. I love that number.
All right, let's talk LSU and Florida State, the biggest game on the card this weekend, and a really, really big one for both of these teams involved. How do you see this one? Give me a key or two.
Well, I think the biggest key will be special teams, right? Just based off of what we saw last season. Who makes the least amount of mistakes on special teams? I'm excited for this one, though, because we get 2 returning quarterbacks. And that's when you look across all of this week 1 schedule, right? Like, there's some questions about Ohio State's quarterback, and there's some questions about Alabama and Georgia and all of these teams across the top 25. But this matchup is 2 returning quarterbacks with Jaden and then Jordan Travis over there at FSU. I'm excited to see which one of them can outduel the other. And that's what I hope this ends up being. I hope we get to see these 2 quarterbacks kind of go series for series, drive for drive, and maybe even throw for throw, and get to kind of pound their chest a little bit and say, we're the only game on in town. You're going to watch us, and I'm going to shine in the bright lights. Now, I do wish, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way, I wish this was on a campus, whether that be LSU or FSU. The fact that this is in Orlando does bum me out because this is a top 10 matchup between 2 great teams in different conferences. Like, this needs to be on campus. I understand that they have some time with the Camping World, the Camping World Open, and all these things. But the reason we love college football is to get good teams in hostile environments, and it's just not as hostile in Orlando as it would be in Tallahassee or in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, LSU got into a couple of these. They played Wisconsin and Houston and Lambeau, and they've got this one on the books as well. They did go out to the Rose Bowl and play UCLA, who's coming here, but they're going to play USC out in Vegas next year. So it's just kind of a mixed bag with what LSU's doing, and we'll see what happens when the SEC kind of gets Texas and Oklahoma into the fold and see where things go from there. You got a pick for LSU and Florida State?
Yeah, I'm riding with the Tigers. I like the number 2 at 2.5. I think LSU is a better team. Now I think Florida State has a great opportunity to grow into a really good team and potentially run with Clemson in the ACC, but my money is with LSU to start.
We're looking forward to this every single Monday, man, and certainly looking forward to hearing you on Saturday nights from 11 to 1 Central Time on Sirius XM. Appreciate it, Denton.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
He is Denton Day, host of College Football Overtime. Has done a lot of work producing for Jacob Hester, based out of D.C. area, and does some great work up there as well. I'm very much looking forward to hearing from Denton every single Monday. As I kind of said, like, I think it works really well in this spot because I'm going to do a ton of LSU in the first hour every Monday. It's just the way it's going to be. And then we'll hit some Saints in the second hour on Mondays. By the time we get to Denton, we'll talk a lot of Ohio State and Michigan. We'll talk a lot of what Texas is doing. Just a national look that I'm not going to be as good at giving you because, quite frankly, and this is not like some sort of revelation to you all, but like just theoretically, LSU plays a 6 o'clock game. Theoretically. That means I'm on the air at 4. So that's like halftime of the 2:30 game. If LSU, and I'm on the air at 4 until 5:30, and then I go watch LSU play at 6. I'm watching LSU play from 6 until 10. I'm on the air from 10:30 to midnight. And so from 4 to midnight, I've been kind of out, like I can't watch. Like I've got things that are going on. So I need a little bit of help. I can go read and I can go watch YouTube highlights, but like I just sometimes need a little bit of help and certainly conveying the national landscape to y'all. And so that's what we're going to have Denton to help do, and very, very much looking forward to that. He obviously knows his stuff and does a great, great job. So we'll come back and close out this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Ochsner Health and MD Anderson Cancer Center have partnered to create Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center in southeastern Louisiana. This collaboration between Ochsner and MD Anderson is going to provide patients in the region with access to cancer treatments that are among the most advanced in the nation. Ochsner is the first and only provider in Louisiana with a fully integrated cancer program that is based on MD Anderson's practice standards and their treatment plans. They've got access to MD Anderson's protocols. They've got access to MD Anderson specialists and researchers, and they're offering groundbreaking research and innovative therapies right here in Louisiana. They're also offering access to select clinical trials that are available to eligible patients. All this is such great news because we all know someone who's had cancer. We've all been affected in some way by cancer, and Ochsner and MD Anderson are partnering together to fight and fight and fight. They're putting 7 locations across New Orleans, St. Tammany, and Baton Rouge. Ochsner Cancer Center right here in the capital city. And Ochsner and MD Anderson are working together to certify additional sites moving forward in the future. If you'd like more information on Ochsner MD Cancer Center, head over to ochsner.org.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR presented by Relief Windows. It's game week. Brian Kelly meets with the media to preview LSU Florida State. We'll let you hear everything the coach has to say. Join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, winding down here on a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. A big thanks to Denton Day for jumping aboard, as well as Big Fave, Marlon Favorite, who was with us at the top of hour number 2. Got one thing left to do on this Monday, and that's play some Take It or Leave It.
All right, starting off here, the Little League World Series has won a walk-off homer by the USA. Little League World Series, take it or leave it.
You got to take it, right? I mean, I'm not going to watch it. I didn't watch last night, and I feel like it was on for 3 weeks in here. I think it might have been. But what a moment for that kid. He looks massive on that field with the rest of the kids, but he crushed a homer. And it was crazy because you got Ravitch on there doing the call, and he's like, Curacao has not given up a home run in the entire Little League World Series, and then bang, kid pumps it out of the yard for a walk-off homer. So huge moment for him. He's just a really, really big kid on those fields. And that's generally kind of what decides the Little League World Series at times, just who's got the big kids. And they very clearly had one of the big kids. So shout out to El Segundo, California for winning the Little League World Series. I'll take it, but I'm not going to watch.
All right, Justin Thomas will reportedly make the U.S. Ryder Cup team. He will fail to score a point. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that. I think he'll be okay. Europe has done this for years. They have taken Sergio Garcia, even though he hadn't been playing well at the time. They've taken guys like Ian Poulter, who wasn't playing great, but you just feel like he's been in the pressure, he's been in the moment, he understands what it's about, he's a talented player, he'll figure it out. And this is not set up like a U.S. Open. Like, it's not going to be the most difficult golf course you've ever played. It appears to be a little bit more difficult than maybe Le Golf National they just played, but he'll play with Spieth. And if he goes out there in the first match and he can't find the club face and he's terrible and he was bad the whole time, then they just sit him till Sunday and let him play singles. Like, it's not that big a deal, but the chance you might catch lightning in a bottle with a guy who's been in that arena and who the team respects and looks up to, I think that's a perfectly acceptable thing to do. So I would probably take him as well. If you're looking at that Guardian story that European outlet that's put this out, says that Zach Johnson's going to take Brooks Koepka, going to take Jordan Spieth, going to take Ricky Fowler and Colin Morikawa to go with the automatic qualifiers with one more spot up for grabs, I think. So they'll announce it at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we'll figure it out and see what the case may be. But, like, as of, 18 months ago, you would have just thought the United States would wipe the floor with Team Europe. And then all of a sudden, JT kind of loses it, and then Morikawa is not an automatic qualifier, and Koepka goes to live, and DJ goes to live, and those guys may not be able to play. And then you look up, and you got Brian Harmon and Wyndham Clark winning majors, so they automatically qualify the team when you didn't figure those guys would be there. Finau's probably not going to be there. Sam Burns probably not going to be there. These immense young talents that were on the President's Cup and Ryder Cup teams that just dusted everybody. Bryson's gone. You figure he'd kind of be there as well. So it's just a weird deal. And then all of a sudden these Europeans popped up. And they've, Hovland's unconscious. Rory's awesome. Rahm's awesome. They've got 3 of the top 4 players in the world on their team. So it's going to be a little bit dicey. I mean, are you okay with that pick, taking Justin Thomas?
I'm not against it. I think I know that he's played well in Ryder Cups, but still, man, he's played really, really poor golf the past few months. I would take somebody that's played better, but that's just me. I mean,
taking Keegan Bradley.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's played really well. I think he deserves a shot, but I don't know. He'll probably go there and win a couple points, and then it will be a non-story. But
I think they've talked forever about how Europe is like a team, and we've got just a bunch of superstars, and that's why Europe's always done it. And if you're gonna play it like that, Justin Thomas is very clearly a member of the team. The guys like him, he's in their he's in their age group, but that's kind of the age that you're going to. So I'm curious to see it. I'll be locked in. I'll be up at 1 o'clock in the morning when it tees off and watch it all the way through when it's time to go to work because I love the Ryder Cup a ton. It doesn't feel, I don't feel as confident in the Stars and Stripes as I did 18 months ago when we were wrecking the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup. So we shall see. That'll do it for Take It or Leave It here on this Monday. Opened up the show 30 minutes on Brian Kelly's press conference today and what he had to say entering game week here. The Tigers are off today. You go, why are they off today? They got a game. Well, it's kind of like Sunday. If you look at LSU playing on Sunday this week, you still got a week, so they'll start their regular prep week tomorrow for Florida State. But I addressed all of Brian Kelly's comments for the first 30 minutes. Did some Saints-Texans talk at 1:30. Mekhi Wingo and Will Campbell got the 18 and 7 jerseys. That was the end of hour number 1. Big Fave, Marlon Fave, right? Remember the LSU Sports Radio Network with me at 2 o'clock. Mike Norvell, press conference sound at 2:15. And then we chatted with Denton Day on some national things in college football at 2:30 before Take It or Leave It. If you missed any of it, you can always catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, or on YouTube. Wherever you find your audio, you can find us. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. And if you want to throw us a like and a subscription on YouTube, we'd appreciate it. Hunt on LSU and Hunt on Saints. That'll do it for us here on this Monday. Matt Moscona is about to drive you home on After Further Review. We are back tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll talk to Glenn West. We'll talk to Sharif Ishak. We'll talk to Brandon Taylor. And we'll do a little breakdown on Jordan Travis, quarterback over at Florida State. Have a great Monday evening. See you tomorrow on the Hunt Palmer Show.